Hey guys, and welcome back to Vikings 4x4 an adventure for an impromptu overnight adventure into the labyrinth of the Blue Mountains. It's interesting how we got here, but Jarrod and I have stumbled across the old Ford Reserve here in the Blue Mountains. So the plan is we're going to show you around this awesome little place and then head out and explore the surrounding areas. So if you enjoyed this one, guys, remember to hit that big red subscribe button to support the channel, and without further ado, let's get right into the adventure. So yesterday afternoon, Jarrod and I decided we wanted to go on an overnight run and camp at one of our favourite local spots, at Yoroka Campground in Glenbrook. Although as we came down the hill to cross over the causeway there, the gate was literally just being closed due to bad weather, right in our faces. So we decided to head to Dunphys campground, and as we were storming down the road here, we came across the old Ford Reserve and decided it was too good to pass up. This beautiful little spot is right next to Megalong Creek and is managed by the Blue Mountains Council. We weren't even going to let the dark stop us from exploring the fast-flowing crystal clear creek. Even at night, it was a sight to see. Due to our arrival time, there wasn't much to show at night, so let's roll on the clips from the morning and show you guys around this beautiful spot. Megalong Creek begins just outside of Katoomba and flows right down the Megalong Valley. By the time it gets down and curves alongside Old Ford Reserve, it has joined together with Back Creek. The result is a beautiful fast-flowing stream with crystal clear water. The creek really gives the campground an awesome atmosphere, and it can be heard flowing clearly in the night. If you follow the creek down some kilometres after Old Ford Reserve, it will eventually join up with the famous Cox's River that runs all the way out of Jenolan Caves and down into the mountains, and eventually becomes Lake Burragorang, more commonly known as Warragamba Dam, that holds the majority of the water supply for Sydney. Old Ford Reserve is tucked away beautifully and offers some really nice secluded areas, as well as large open areas and even some nice little campsites tucked down by the creek. Its location is really special too, hidden down in the Megalong Valley, which is a track less taken by the average person. You can guarantee you'll have a nice peaceful stay at a place like Old Ford Reserve. Our original destination for this trip, Dunphys Campground, is only a few more minutes down the beaten path, and we weren't going to waste any more time before heading out exploring. We had been to this area before, but it was some time ago, so we began by driving up the road a little, and we were greeted by an all too familiar sign. The 6-foot track is one of the most famous walking and four-wheel drive tracks in the country. It was once a bridle track from Katoomba to the Jenolan Caves and is now a 44-kilometre long walking and four-wheel drive track. However, there are only small sections of the track that are drivable. We were eager to check this section out as it will be the first time encountering the track for us. Although it was not the signature four-wheel drive track that we're all used to seeing, it was a pretty cool addition to the trip. The road swerved around after a few cattle grates. We came into an area of the track that we thought was pretty spectacular. The road winded through a small flower field covered in these purple flowers. Shortly after the grate, the 6-foot track took a turn and headed down over this small Gaia bridge. Although the road continued onwards and up over the hills, we were keen to keep exploring what was over and up the top. The scenery of the Blue Mountains is absolutely amazing, and it isn't hard to see why places like this are so popular among those seeking adventure. It was really hard to tell where the track went in this region without following a map, although we presumed it continued down and ended up joining onto the Cox's River some kilometres down in the valley. We ended up ditching the walking track pretty quickly as we realised the road swerved right up and around the hill. This was a fairly secluded part of the Blue Mountains, with most roads being no-through roads and the area being rich with wineries and rolling hills. The trail soon came to a dead end at the gate of two beautiful wineries, although unfortunately they were both closed. Maybe next time we can get in there for some good tasting. Nevertheless, we headed back out onto the road and towards our original destination, Dunphys Campground. The road in stays tarmac for a while, but soon turns to dirt, and you can tell that it's a pretty remote spot. We were faced with a bit of dirt on the way in, although pretty much any vehicle can get out here. Keep in mind though, you do need to pass through some private property in order to get all the way out to Dunphys Campground. Driving these roads again brought back some great memories, although the best memory for me was watching Jarrod get out and open up the gate through Ballyview. Get a look at this. Go on, son. That's it. There's no sheep around, so he's not excited yet. No. Look at that. Beautiful. Looks right at home. He'll probably get me back for that at some point, but it was a good laugh between Liam and I. All jokes aside, we stumbled down the trail for only a few more kilometres before we were greeted with a beautiful sight at the remote Dunphys campground. Tucked away at the end of the Megalong Valley, Dunphys campground is a very remote yet incredibly well maintained campground for those seeking adventure. There is a small car park here that could accommodate out of vehicle camping, and there's also traditional sites with fire pits located all around. There are some awesome walking tracks that span off from Dunphys campground. You could probably spend a few days exploring here. The campsites even delve down the side of the hill a little into the bush. This campsite is really unique for somewhere so remote, with a barbecue facility available and even a water tank. Although the highlight for us had to be the scenery. So we have arrived at the Dunphys campground in the Blue Mountains National Park on our impromptu adventure through the Blue Mountains, exploring the area. And we've actually been here before. However, last time the campground didn't have any of these awesome little purple flowers and yellow flowers that we can see everywhere now. You can actually camp right down here. There's a fire pit there. You can actually camp right down amongst all these awesome little flowers. I mean, how cool is that? These small purple flowers were absolutely everywhere we had gone today. They are commonly referred to as Pattersons Curse. They seem to be abundant in spring right through the Megalong Valley. They added a unique atmosphere to the area, and it was good to see the abundance of plant life after the devastation of the previous bushfire season. Although these flowers look nice, they are not the most popular among farmers. Pattersons Curse is estimated to cost cattle and sheep farmers some $250 million a year in pasture productivity and wool contamination. In a lot of the southern and western parts of the country, it is considered a weed. Although for us here at Dunphys campground, they added a nice atmosphere to the spot. The weather was beginning to look grim off in the distance, and we were literally at the end of the road here at Dunphys campground, so we decided to call it a day and head back to Old Ford Reserve to pack up. We want to thank you guys for tuning into this overnight impromptu adventure into the Blue Mountains. If you enjoyed this one, guys, hit the subscribe button and share the video around. And as always, we'll see you in the next adventure.